So I'm glad to be here on this stage in front of a young, lively crowd bubbling with liveliness. And yeah, that's the word we can begin with. When do we call somebody alive? When do we call somebody alive? We call somebody alive when the fellow has desire. Desire is one clear characteristic of being alive. Consciousness is desire or will. Now, about this desire or will, a lot has been said. Those who have tried to understand human mind, human life, have tried to ask, what is it that a human being constantly keeps desiring? What is it that we want? What is it that we want? Because there is nobody who is alive and does not want. So what is it that we live for? What is it within that keeps asking for stuff? So Arthur Schopenhauer, he would say the fundamental desire is the will to live, the will to just continue, to not die, to exist, the will to live. Sigmund Freud, he would say there is a fundamental will to pleasure. We want to have pleasure, we want to be happy, and that's what the entire internal will system, desire system is for. Viktor Frankl said there is a will to meaning. We want to have purpose in life. We want to lead meaningful lives. But now we come to Friedrich Nietzsche. He said the deepest desire is the will to power. And we'll take up Nietzsche in the limited few minutes we have today, because the topic given to me today is your internal superpower. So we want to have power, that's what Nietzsche said. What kind of power do we want? He said, we exist so that we can be powerful. We exist so that we can exercise power. It's very difficult to understand what exactly is he saying. We want and we want to have power. And the Nazi Germans totally misunderstood him. When he said we want to have power, they took it as the desire to have external power. They called it as Kraft, the name for external power, the will to have power over the world, the will to exercise power over other people, the will to own and possess resources and things and money and so many other kinds of... So when you misunderstand the basic desire to have power within, that's what you get, the World War. The Nazis imposed the World War upon the world because they thought that the fundamental desire within, the desire that we all live for, the desire that keeps all of us alive, is to own the world. And we all have been making much the same mistake since then. We think that we exist to own the world, that the fundamental desire is the will to have external power, Kraft, German word, K-R-A-F-T. Can I have power enough to call up someone and make him do things that I want him to do? Can I have power to purchase this or that? Can I have the power to influence other people? That's what we think our fundamental will is for. Well, no. India and the Indian knowers, thinkers, sages have understood the will to power in a very different way since very long. They have said that the Power that we want is not over the world. Yes, it is true that we want to be powerful. It is true that we feel helpless within as we are born. That there is a certain feeling of powerless within, a complex that makes us seek more and more power. But the power that we want to have is not over the entire world, the external world, but over ourselves. That power that you want to have over ourselves is called Macht. In Nietzsche's terms, it's called Macht. You want to have power over yourself because the fundamental powerlessness, the fundamental helplessness is within, not external. Well, does that mean that it's no use having worldly power, it's no use having money and influences and network and political power and such things? Well, the answer is you need external power so that you can have power over yourself. You need external power so that you can conquer yourself. As long as external power is a tool, an aid, a method to go within and beat your internal weaknesses, external power is not only necessary but actually welcome. It's much more than acceptable. It's a duty to have external power, but only to the extent and only with the intention that you need it to conquer the enemy within, the falseness within. So that is what is power all about. And when you talk of the internal superpower, that brings me to a related word, Nietzsche's Superman. He said the Superman justifies the existence of entire humanity. He justifies the entire flow of history. He says we exist so that one day we can become the Superman. And who is the Superman? The Superman is one who has conquered the animal within, who has beaten the primordial animalistic weaknesses we are born with. That's the Superman. How do you get to become the Superman? By not doing what the Nazis did. When you go in pursuit of external power, what you get is destruction of yourself and the world. And remember, the world war has not ended. I repeatedly say that we are already in the middle of the Third World War. And it's a kind of invisible, surreptitious war, so we don't come to know of it. The destruction that the Second World War brought about was very little compared to the destruction that the current war is already daily bringing upon us. The extent of destruction is such that we are already in the 6th mass extinction phase. We are destroying not only a particular continent, not only enemy countries, but entire humanity, including all species. The number of species going extinct per day today is 1,000 times higher than what the average has been over the last millions of years. That's the war we are talking of. And that war has been foisted upon us by much the same misinterpretation that plagued the Nazis. They thought that we exist to own the world, that we must be able to impose our ideology on the world, that we must be able to please ourselves as we want. If that's what you think your fundamental desire or will is for, then mankind does not have too long to exist. Maybe we are already in our last few decades. On the other hand, if you can understand that your heart beats so that you can beat yourself, that you exist so that you can be free of the mundane clutches of existence, then you are close to becoming what Nietzsche envisaged as his Superman. Now, as young people, it depends on you. What do you want to exercise your desire, your will for? Just to accumulate stuff because everybody in the family, in the society, and on the TV seems to do that and suggest as well? Or do you want to really understand your impulses, your desires, and go within and say, well, why do I need to be afraid? Why do I need to be insecure? Why can't I be a Superman within myself? Power, when used for pleasing yourself, for just fattening your pocket, is not just ordinary power, it is something destructive, something evil. Whereas that same power, the same force of desire, when it is turned inwards and is used for self-improvement, self-dissolution, self-sublimation, it becomes superpower. I invite all of you to not remain merely a mortal human being. What you call as the normal human being is very close to being an animal. Very, very close. We need to justify our existence by exceeding the normal humanness, the normal mortality. And when you do that, that's when you are a Superman, and that's possible only with power turned inwards. Power, the force of desire, the same desire that you all experience every day, every moment. When that desire is turned inwards, what you get is superpower. So superpower is not about having 10,000 missiles tipped with nuclear warheads, or having a $30 trillion economy, or having the fattest bank account one can dream of. Being a superpower is about not remaining the animal one was born as, not patronizing, nurturing, or being afraid of the weaknesses that we carry deep within ourselves. Superpower is about saying, before I conquer anybody else, I need to win myself. Yes, of course, money is important. Position, status, knowledge, all these things, resources, they are important. But I'll use them so that I can justify my own birth, my own life. Money is not an end into itself. Resources, knowledge, power, highest kind of job, entrepreneurship, they mean nothing by themselves. They are a method. They are a tool. They are a way so that we can enter ourselves and become what we are born and destined to become. So be a superpower, and the root goes within. Thank you. Thank you so much.